now we are having the honor to have together with us the keynote speaker. Keynote speaker. So who else could be the keynote speaker? First of all, we know, everybody knows about DigiMove, the important role of the DigiMove. So we need policies, and of course we need officers to explain about those policies. Welcome in Greece, Mr. Antoine Kedzierski. Antoine Kedzierski is the policy officer of the Shortsea shipping of the DigiMove. Welcome.
Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, Kalimera. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today and to meet the Greek and European Shortsea community for the 2019 edition of the Shortsea Shipping Days. I would like to thank the organizer for this effort and this initiative. As it has already been said, the Shortsea Shipping Days are a unique occasion to tighten the dialogue between the practitioners, shippers, operators and ports, academia and public authorities on the upcoming challenges and opportunities for this important market segment. Maritime transport is the backbone of international trade, and this is of course also true for the European Union. Today, 75% of EU trade is seaborne, so a highly efficient and performing shipping sector is essential. And it's not only about ships. It also concerns the well-functioning of ports that are the vital gateways to connect the European market with international partners. It's also about how we integrate maritime transport within the overall transport and logistic chains. But it has already been said by a previous speaker, if maritime transport is essential for external trade, it is also a key component of Europe's overall transport system and the internal market. Today, maritime provides a sustainable alternative for the transport of passengers and goods within the Union, and it accounts for more than a third of intra-EU trade. In reality, Shortsea shipping makes up close to 60% of the total transport goods carried in EU ports. I know that in a country like Greece, and it has just been recalled by the previous speaker, with several thousands of islands, the vital importance of a well-functioning, attractive and competitive short-sea shipping sector is particularly well understood. But let me quote a last piece of statistics which is, I think, particularly telling in this context. We know that because short-sea shipping is mainly focused on short distances, the short-sea traffic is usually staying within the same sea basin. But we can actually understand that figure as well as an evidence of the role that the sector plays in securing the cohesion within a particular sea basin. So connecting, for instance, islands to the mainland and connecting as well neighbors together. So we fully recognize the role, the crucial role that short-sea shipping plays in linking the different regions of the Union, but also preserving and attracting new industries and logistics activities, plus also supporting the greening of transport. Against this background, it has already been said, the Commission has dedicated some specific efforts on short-sea shipping. Indeed, the first communication on short-sea shipping was adopted by the Commission in 1995. And since then, it has regularly figured in different strategies and policies. The 2009 EU Maritime Strategy also has itself a dedicated section to that particular topic. And in most cases, our regulation also recognizes the specificities of the sector with the aim to ensure that the applicable framework is fit for purpose and does not create an additional barrier for the well-functioning of short-sea operations. I think it's fair to say that some progress has actually been achieved since 1995, and I don't wish to keep the remarks for too long, but I would like to highlight some of the most recent ones. Let me start by recalling what has already been said by the colleague from UGS, in particular with the reporting formalities and the simplification of reporting formalities. These issues has been highlighted already since the beginning as one of the key barriers for the further development of short sea shipping. While the 2010 directive introduced a single window, the national single window, and already created a great deal of simplification, ship operators were found to still spend between 1 and 3 hours per port call on reporting only. So we're very pleased of the recent agreement that was found between the Council and the Parliament on the proposal to create a European maritime single window environment to introduce a higher degree of harmonization and possibly as well to allow for the reuse of the data submitted through the reporting once principle. We really hope that this initiative will contribute to the setting up of a true European maritime transport space without barriers and help remove the burden, hence creating, improving the efficiency and the attractiveness of the transport sector, of the maritime transport sector, in particular for short sea operators. Another element which was contained in the 2009 maritime transport strategy in relation to short sea shipping was the importance of infrastructure, ensuring that the appropriate framework was set up for ports policy, including on the provision of services and investment. In 2017, we adopted the Port Services Regulation, which paves the way for increased financial transparency of ports and create clear and fair conditions for access to the port services market throughout the EU. This regulation enters into force this year and is an important milestone, and it explicitly also recognizes the particular situations of short sea segment. But today's conference is entitled Short Sea Challenges Ahead. So while it's true that we observe a gradual recovery of the sector, and according to the latest figures, actually the traffic volumes in 2017 are almost back to the one preceding the economic downturn in 2009, we should recognize that the economic and political climate remains somewhat uncertain. Some of the challenges that the sector is facing were already mentioned and discussed last year in Lübeck. And I think we will hear back of some of the progress achieved already this year, but this year as well in the different panels, we may even hear about new issues that should be effectively addressed. My encouragement here would be to also reflect on those trends and see how the challenges can actually be turned into opportunities. One of the possible examples on how this could be done is actually linked to environmental regulations. We know that the upcoming greenhouse gases, or the meeting the greenhouse gases target of the IMO will probably require the development of low carbon technology, the development of renewable fuels, and alternative propulsion. And here I would like to recall the experience that was gained in the past 5 to 10 years on the question of LNG. It has showed us that these are long-term efforts that require the cooperation of all actors. But it has also showed us that short sea shipping can actually pioneer a certain technology. Most of the LNG ships that we have seen now are actually short sea assets, and we only see the technology reaching the deep sea market today. So actually there is a future for short sea shipping in also pioneering new technologies and becoming actually leader in innovation. We fully recognize that this requires targeted investment. In the current financial period, the Commission has annually provided about 50 million euros per year on maritime research and innovation under Horizon 2020. And in terms of the development and deployment of new technologies, we have spent about 1 billion on a SEF-related maritime portfolio. So let me conclude on this positive note. Short sea is and will remain an important component of the maritime sector, and there is also a strong determination from the Commission to build up on the past successes and continue the dialogue. For EU shipping to remain a strong player, we must work together and strengthen the role we have in producing high technology, high efficient, low emission waterborne transport. A safe, sustainable and competitive EU shipping industry requires a strong and solid EU maritime cluster. And I think we have here today quite a number of representatives of the cluster, so I'm very much looking forward for the discussion. Many thanks.